paying attention to your account and knowing what's going on is the number one way to prevent fraud. And one of the things the fraudsters will do is if they're going to try to test your account to see if they can get access to it, they'll run some really tiny transactions through it that look completely normal. Transactions that are with companies that maybe you do business with, they make them look like it, and they'll run them through. And if they clear, then they go fishing for bigger money. So you got to pay attention to not just the, oh my God, somebody just ran a $5,000 item against my account. You know, you got to look for the little ones too, and the ones that are just suspicious, items you didn't offer or authorize. You know, we've talked about altered checks. You know, you want to look at your check when it comes back on your statement to see if it's your handwriting. You know, did you actually write the darn thing? Important to pay attention. You know, if all of a sudden in your mail, you get checks that you didn't order, you know, if you've asked us to send you checks and you ordered them, that's one thing. But if all of a sudden a box of checks shows up, that's unusual. Well, there have been fraudsters that have had checks sent to mailboxes, and their goal is to get to your mailbox before you do. They're going to steal the checks out of your box, but sometimes you may get to them first, and you may say, wow, I didn't order checks. That's a sign, and you've got to let us know if something like that happens, okay? Again, missing and stolen checks. You've got to pay attention. You need to know if you're writing checks, what check number am I on? Keeping a register, knowing you just issued check number 5,023, the next one's 5,024. If that check is missing, again, ask another account holder with you, but if that check is just missing, did someone pull one out? Endorsements on checks, a big deal. Sometimes somebody will get a check and they'll make a fraudulent endorsement on the back of the check. Paying attention to that. Irregularities in signatures and handwriting, transactions that don't make sense. Again, these are all super, super important. And anytime that anyone is asking you to send them a check quickly or do something with pressure, or it's got to be, whether it's the grandparent scam or something else. I was with some bankers just recently, and a customer had come in requesting a cashier's check for a very large dollar amount. In this particular case, though, it was to a company that it was a senior, and it was to a medical company. And it made sense. You know, it wasn't unusual that a senior citizen would write a check to a medical company. I mean, it's just likely, right? Customer got the check, and they were being taken advantage of by fraud, it turns out. They were asked by the fraudster to FedEx the check immediately to some other location. So the fraudster didn't want to take the chance that the customer would just send it by regular mail and wake up and find out, oops, I think I've been defrauded, and stop pay it. So too late, it's cashier's check, can't stop pay it. So that's number one. So if you're sending a cashier's check to somebody, you better know who the recipient is, and it better be somebody that you really want to send it to. But two, fraudster wanted it FedExed, boom, cashier's check is negotiated, money's gone. And it just happens that quickly. But they were under pressure. The fraudster created an identity and tried to make that customer really feel like they were in trouble. They needed to do something very, very quickly, and they put on serious high pressure. So anytime when somebody's offering you something of value, they may be trying to make you a mule, as we talked about earlier. Anytime they're offering something of value that has no reference to something that you actually did or participated in, it's a huge red flag.